So it took me long enough, but here are some answers to your people-to-people questions. Okay, so the pretty much number one question that was asked was, how much does it cost? Now, I've only been on one trip, just one. So I don't know how much all of the different one costs, but every single trip costs a different amount of money, depending on where you're going and how long you're going for. Now, it's not free, and it is a lot. My trip was about $6,500, but this pays for all your transportation, so the plane rides, the buses, everything. Food, you don't pay for any food other than extra food. All the activities you do, everything, all the tours, all of it, all the hotels, everything's paid for. The only things that you pay for are like gifts, souvenirs, and if you want extra food. So if you're out and you want to buy ice cream, you need to buy that. They're not going to pay for that. But other than that, that covers everything. And I know it's a lot, but there are some scholarships that they give out. You have to go to the site for more information. Link is in the side. Please be that way. And also fundraise. You can always fundraise. My puppy. I met a girl on my trip who raised every single penny of her trip plus $700 extra to spend while she was there. So she raised over $7,000. So fundraise. They'll give you some ideas at certain meetings. They have some information about fundraising on the website. So just try your hardest. If you really want to go, fundraise. So that's all the advice I could really give about that. The interview. Is it a possibility that you won't get in? I don't know, actually. There probably is a possibility that you won't get in, but that's only if you go into the interview and say that you're complete total, like, that you plan on going on this trip to go and get lost and bang girls and get high or something like that. I don't know. Honestly, it's not that difficult of a interview. It's not like they're gonna pound it down and get all the information out of you. But they're pretty much just ask, like, why you want to be a student ambassador and why you want to go on the trip. What do you plan to learn while on the trip? The interview is kind of just to get to know you. So they would like to know, like, if you're, like, a really messy person, if you get along with people, if you enjoy traveling, if you enjoy learning about other cultures. So it's just, like, it's not that difficult. Just be yourself and answer honestly. So, yeah. The projects. Now, this was a question that I got a bunch of. Do you have to do a project? I don't know. My group that I traveled with, we had to do a project. A bunch of groups that I met there, well, because you meet other groups along the way, they didn't have to do projects. So it depends on who your leaders are, technically. So if they want you to do a project, you do a project. And they're not hard. Everybody in my group did it the day of, like 2 hours before. I did mine the day of. Not that difficult. Can you bring anybody? No. This is a single person trip. Like, unless you're going with, like, a friend, that's fine, but they have to pay for the trip too. And they have to go through the entire process that you're going to go through. So you can't bring your mom, you can't bring your dad, but you're not alone. It's you, 39 other kids, and 4 adults. And I keep saying kids, I don't mean to say kids. It's like, technically we're all teens. So, people, yeah. Plane flights. What airline did you use, and how was the flight? Again, it matters where you're going. If you're going to Australia, that's like a 24-hour plane ride. If you're going to Europe like I did, it was about 7 hours. And mostly we just slept. I can't sleep on planes, so I had books and I had movies to watch, because they had a screen thing, they were playing movies. I think we went on American Airlines, I want to say. I think that's the airline I used. Could be making it up, I'm not sure. But the plane rides are fun, because that's the first chance you get to really talk to the other people that you're going with, other than at the meetings. Like, that's when you really get to start to know people. You're sitting with them on the plane, at least one other person, and then you just have to interact and have fun. But you can't always be too loud on the plane, because sometimes you take a red eye and people are in meetings and stuff the next day, so you sometimes have to be quiet. I actually got asked, because my flight was the red eye and I only had an hour of sleep, and we're about to land in Switzerland, and I'm sitting there like jumping up and down, like so excited, and the person one of the flight attendants passes by and he's like, "Sorry, but are you on drugs?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Then how are you so awake right now? I don't understand." So, I don't know. But one thing not to do ever in any airport on any flight is joke about bombs or terrorists or anything like that, because you will be arrested. End of story. Okay, the homestays. Homestays are when you stay with the family from one of the countries that you're visiting. So I had my homestay in Germany, and I stayed with the family in Germany for 3 days. What you do is that you pretty much follow their daily routine. If the person you're staying with is going to school, you go to school with her or him. If they go to some dance class or something, you'd probably go with them. So it's probably one of the greatest experiences that come from this trip is the homestays. You get to live in the life of somebody else from another country, and you get to see their culture, which is a huge thing. This is when you really make the comparison between Americans and whatever type of people you're staying with. It's when you kind of get to compare the cultures and compare their daily life, because you have a person staying with you that speaks English and that is around your age. In the household that I stayed in, everybody spoke a little bit of English, but the girl that I hung out with the entire time, she was the same age as me, and she spoke perfect English. Other families, only one person spoke English, and the parents didn't, but each family varies, but you will always have somebody who speaks English, so you'll be okay. Are you staying by yourself? In my group, I did stay by myself with this family, but some people do get to stay with others. So you'd be in like a pair of 2 or a pair of 3, and you'll stay with this family. So, yeah. And don't be scared about the homestays. They're just as excited about it and nervous about it as you are. These people are interviewed, and they kind of go through the same process that we do. They kind of go through meetings as well, and they're prepared for what we're gonna kind of be like. At least they get an idea. So they're not some crazy wacko killers that are gonna murder you. They're nice, very calm people. They wouldn't be chosen to do this if they seemed like they were gonna be a harm to you. Am I making sense? I don't even know. But you do always you get a phone number to call, because normally it's either like 2 to 5 days that you stay with the family, like it ranges between there, and you have a telephone number that you can call if you're really not having a good time or something. So like, say you're there and your family is like bunch of like smokers, or they have a cat and you're allergic to cats, or you're allergic to the smoke, you can call and say that you have a problem, then they can come and like talk to the families and stuff. And if you're truly having like a terrible time and you absolutely despise it, you hate it, you can call and they'll be there and they'll check it out. You'll have a code word. My code word was happy birthday. So you'd call the number and be like, "Oh, hi, blah 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 blah. Oh, I just wanted to let you know, happy birthday." And that would be the code word for them to know that you're not okay, and they'll come over and check everything out and see if you're alright. So you're always watched over.